بدأت الحكاية منذ مئات السنين بين القبائل العربية في صحراء الجزيرة القاحلة، عندما تولد عشق بين الجواد والفارس. ورغم كل الظروف القاسية استمرت شعلة التلاحم بينهم حتى يومنا هذا. وقد حظيت الخيل العربية على مر السنين برعاية إلهية سخر فيها العديد من عشاق الخيل الذين حافظوا على هذا الإرث العتيق جيلا بعد جيل من المشرق إلى المغرب.
Yes, Ghazal, yes. I mean, from the pictures you can tell.
He went down in the back as he got older.
A lot, yes.
Yeah, quite a bit, which is strange. I don't know where that came from. But you find it in some of the Egyptian pedigrees.
Do you find that in non-Egyptian horses also?
In non-Egyptian?
Yes.
I haven't made a study of them, so I really couldn't say.
Okay.
Be interesting.
Have you seen it in thoroughbreds?
I suppose some of the older thoroughbreds do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a genetic trait. It may be in some cases. I think probably in the Egyptians it may be genetic, I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem to necessarily... You know, Dr. Zahir did a study of, and that's been many years ago, on the curvature in the backs of Egyptian horses. And I don't think it proved anything very conclusive. I think I still have a copy of it at home. But it's one of those things that happens, sneaky genes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't go down in the back till they're older.
Mainly, yes. But some do get it when they are at a very young age, even at 1 or 2 years old. Yeah.
Well, I know Babson had a few that I know of.
Yes.
We had a couple. You know, I know a number of farms that have had it to some degree. It can also happen from if a horse is really sick and has a high fever for some reason or other. It has happened.
It happened?
It's happened. But probably in an early stage, I don't know. It happened with us with one filly, and I don't think with her it was, I don't think it was genetic. She got real sick when she was young.
Do doctors say that it affects something in the bone? In the backbone?
I don't know. I have heard that it can, but scientifically I haven't tried to analyze it.
Let's go back to the horses again. Fawqiyya. Do you recall Fawqiyya, Judy?
Fawqiyya?
Yes.
Yeah, she was extremely pretty, beautiful-bodied mare, very square. As I recall, she had quite a nice neck and a very pretty head. She was one of the Sama daughters. I believe, was she Sama or was she Marafiq out of a Sama daughter? Not sure.
Fawqiyya.
But lovely mare. Yeah, really very balanced, very square. I think, pretty sure Glenlock showed a lot of those Sama daughters, or that Rodan group, because they had quite a few. That Romana II was drop-dead gorgeous mare.
Romana. Romana II.
I think it was Romana II.
Yes.
They were all very substantial. All those Sama daughters were really square, good moving, some colored. Usually their chestnuts were really pretty. Very balanced, just really good balance. And nice necks, not necessarily big long necks, but beautifully set necks and well shaped and attractive heads. They all had a certain look, certain squareness about them.
Hikmat also was one of the mares?
That was an Antar daughter.
Yes.
Yeah. She was a bigger chestnut, kind of a rangier mare, plainer headed, good length of neck as I recall, kind of a big mare. Not good brood mare, but not classic. When I say classic, not as extremely beautiful as say Fawqiyya or Romana, not in that class.
Yes.
Another really beautiful Sama daughter was Shama.
Shama?
Shama, bay mare.
Did she go to the States?
Yeah, she was one of the Glenlock mares. Can't remember her mother now, but she was one of those Rodans also.
So it looks like Sama was doing well with the
Did
Rodania.
really well with that.
Yeah, Rodania line. The Egyptian prince we probably missed to talk about.
Well, he was bred in the States, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw him in his later years.
Yeah.
Very impressive horse. Kind of a nice combination of his father and his mother, but maybe more towards the father. He and Shahzaman were full-blood brothers. He was out of Bint Mona. Shahzaman was out of Bint Mabruka. And comparing the two, I don't remember the prince as having the huge, deep shoulder like Shahzaman. He was a little more of his mother in the sense, body style, perhaps neck and shoulder and so on. And maybe a little more towards his mother in the head, but not as extreme by any means. Shahzaman had his father's head. Prince had more combination of Bint Mona and Marafik. Lovely eyes, really good broodmare sire, and sired several really nice stallions.
Shahzaman. So let's talk about the Ansata horses now, since we started to talk about. So let's start with Ibn Halima, then we'll go down to the others.
Okay.
So Ibn Halima you bought as a yearling, then of course he grew up and he established the whole farm. So as we discussed earlier, who was more important, Ibn Halima or Halim Shah or Ibn Sudan? We start with Ibn Halima.
Well, the wonderful thing about Ibn Halima was perfectly balanced. I remember even as a young horse, when quarter horse people, we lived in quarter horse country. So when these three Arabians came in, all the quarter horse people wanted to come and see what had just dropped in from the sky. I had several friends that raced quarter horses, and they all loved Ibn Halima because he was beautiful and he was so perfectly balanced and he could move. Wonderful moving horse. He matured he reminded me to a degree of the pictures of Sheikh al-Arab. You could almost take pictures of the two and put them side by side. Maybe a little more square, but beautiful, well-shaped neck with a very nice clean throat, small ears, big eyes, which he was very consistent in siring. Short head, which was typical of that Farida family. Relatively short back, good top line, nice deep hip, good tail carriage. Just everything on him was fit. He had good legs, maybe a tad little offset in the knees, but a nice, beautiful, well-shaped forearm, really nice hindquarters with a nice, well-shaped gaskin. I mean, as far as a good horse, he was a good horse as well as a really classic Arabian horse. And I think that's why he did so well in the shows.
Yes.
Everybody loved this horse. And he could move. Tom showed him. Tom was a big man. And Ib was 15 hands, but because he was short-coupled, he didn't look that big.
Yeah. He's 15.
He was 15 hands at the wither. Because we measured him several times. And Tom was tall. He was well over 6 feet.
Yes.
But he didn't look out of balance on the horse. And Tom won a number of championships, park championships. Rita showed him to English pleasure championships. He won top 10 3 times against the top stallions in the country. Should have been national champion, but that was another long story.
But was he competing against Arab horses?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, top ones, all the top ones in the country. He was a great horse. He just missed being national champion, and it was a real sad situation. As a matter of fact, whatever happened on that particular day, they changed the judging system because all the big breeders got behind the international and said, you change it, or there's going to be
They changed it from what to what?
I'm trying to remember. It's been so long ago. Actually, the horse that won was called Count Basie, and it was one of Basie Tankovich's horses. And he was really not much of a great horse. But it just so happened that a couple of the judges it was a questionable situation, maybe a conflict of interest or something. The horse didn't deserve to win. There were other situations at the same show that weren't quite right. But I remember, and Ibn Halima should have won that show. And one of Jim Klein's mares should have won a particular class. And after the show, all the mighty men of the industry got together and they said, you will change the system now. So they changed the judging system. Of course, the judging systems have changed so many times over the years, you can't keep track of it anymore. But I think, as I recall, one or two judges at that time could really pretty well control who won. Anyway, his son Ibn Sudan made up for it.
Yes, this is the second question. Ibn Sudan.
Sudan was the second
Yes.
of Bint Mabruka's foals. The first one was Abbas Pasha, which looked like her, and ended up going to the Babson farm. He was a really pretty horse too, beautiful horse, a squarer horse, beautiful body, well conformed, beautiful head, big eyes, a little squarer in the neck, but well shaped. But Sudan was he's a horse that could go anywhere today and still compete. Perfect balance, really good body, super top line, long, elegant neck with a very, very fine throat, beautiful ears, nice eyes, not the huge eyes that Shahzaman got, but very beautiful, had huge nostrils. And
mourn for the horses now in God's hands as they dance and they prance in a heavenly
He
band.
brought him in front of people and he just blew up like a balloon. He just wanted to show it off. He was a character. He always won whenever we showed him. And in the Nationals, I'll never forget, we had leased him out one year, and the people that had leased him also had a stallion, beautiful stallion, but not Egyptian. But he was also eligible for the Nationals that year. It was in 1971, and they were not going to let us have the horse back. Well, we had to go through some very unpleasant situations to get him back, but we did, and he was fat as a pig. There was no way this horse was going to compete. Well, that year, the Venezuelan sickness hit, and they had to postpone the Nationals for over a month and a half. So we had a month and a half to get this horse ready.
Reduce his weight.
Yeah. And we worked, and we worked, and we worked, and we worked on him. And I'd come home for the Nationals. And that was the same year that Hansi Heck had Serenity Sambola that was going to the Nationals. So Hansi sends Sambola. She says, I don't trust the trainer. Can I send him to Ansada? Send her to Ansada. So I said, okay, send her. So we had Sudan there and Serenity Sambola.
Wow.
Anyway, long story short, both of them went off to the Nationals in Oklahoma City. Sambola was national champion. Sudan was national champion. On 2 cards. He was 7th on the other card of the other judge who wanted LaCroix to win. And that year, Gwalior was the bridesmaid instead of the bride again. So it was a very interesting year, but he won.
Interesting.
And there were 83 stallions, 83 champion stallions.
But that was the only one he went to the show. He didn't go again?
Oh, no.
Sudan?
No.
One time.
Once he won, that was it. But he won a number of other championships before that. He was top 10, actually, with his father in 1 year, 2 years before, I think it was.
Yes, U.S. national. Yes. And Abu Sudan is his son.
Abu Sudan is his son out of a Hadban and Zahimir.
Yes, Bint Maysuna.
Maysuna.
How do they compare, son and father?
Not too much. Abu Sudan wasn't as well, he wasn't a strong-bodied horse. He was a little softer in the back, a little longer hip maybe. Beautiful neck, nice shoulder, very nice shoulder. This horse could move. He was very, very pretty. I just wish that we'd had more foals by him. But,
Abu Sudan.
every one of his daughters was a good broodmare and could move like lightning. We have a film that's the Ansada film, and it shows him in there. This
Heaven.
horse was
You'll see them
most
above.
beautiful moving horse we
The
had.
horses we
Just-
lost,
He floated.
the horses we loved.
And lifted, but unfortunately he died young. Not real young, but we had leased him out, and unknowingly people had put him on walnut shavings, which caused a severe founder. Do not use walnut shavings ever.
So he eats the shavings?
No,
Or
just
what?
being on them.
Just being on them, it
Just
causes
being on them,
founder?
I guess. I don't know. But anyway, they say you should never use walnut shavings. And it proved true with him.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Never knew that.
I mean, the unfortunate thing is,
we don't have walnut here, but that's an interesting
Yeah,
thing.
never. We didn't have enough mares in those days to really justify using all of our stallions.
Yes.
Which was, I mean, today, there's so many more mares and so few great stallions.
Yes.
In those days, there were some great stallions and
Not
fewer mares.
enough mares.
It's just, it's really unfortunate. But that's life.
Were they as tall as Ibn Halima, 15 hands, both of them?
Oh, yeah.
Both.
Sedan was a good 15 hands, maybe a little more.
Ibn
Sedan. Abu Sedan was, he was good size. I would say he was around that size. Shah Zaman was probably the tallest.
They were never yours.
Which of course was a full brother
They were
and full
never
sister.
mine.
And he was not as beautiful, although we showed him well in one-man championship. But he was a huge factor because he was so dominant for wonderful top lines, wonderful tail carriage, nice upset, well set up necks, beautiful shoulders. And the big eyes. He was a powerful horse, very short back, very much more on the type of Moraffic than on his mother.
But not the head.
But he got more the Moraffic head. It was a longer foreface.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a nice eye.
Beautiful eye. He was a powerful horse and very much Moraffic in his temperament, and he was strong. I mean, he had a mind of his own. Not mean or anything, but willful, let's put it that way.
Stronger character.
Yeah, strong character. Sedan was a sweetheart. He was a lover. Yeah. Shah Zaman was, maybe I'll like you, maybe I won't. You've got to prove it.
The Shah Zaman was the only Moraffic son you had, or mating you had?
No, we bred Falima to Moraffic and got Nile Jewel, which we sold to the Hacklanders. And she made a nice family. Pretty blue mare, but she was her mother. She was not her father at all.
So those two?
I think those were was there another Moraffic? I don't think there was. I think most of them were Shah Zamans. That was it.
Then after that came the Jamil and Halim Shah stage.
Yeah, we leased Jamil from Dr. Nagel. We'd reached a point where we thought maybe we needed something, a little bit of an outcross. And I remember we went to visit Hans and he wasn't there, and it was winter. And they brought Jamil out, and I thought, and it had snowed. And here comes this white horse with these great big black eyes and these sharp little ears. And I thought, wow, I think this is one that would fit. Next time we did get a chance to meet with Hans, and he had come to the States and saw Halim Shah.
Yes.
So we decided we'd switch for a year or so, and Jamil came to the States, Halim Shah went to...
At that time, Jamil had babies? Before you took him?
At Nagel's?
Yes.
I can't remember if he did or not.
I don't know. I don't recall.
I just don't remember. At that time, there was a lot of negativity swirling around with some of the German breeders over certain horses, and particularly Jamil was one of them because of Hanan and being Inchas, and it was just we said, this is nonsense. So we took Jamil back and showed him in the States to, every time he was shown, he was champion. Then we took him to the U.S. Nationals, the toughest nationals in many years. I mean, all really exceptional stallions. And he was top 10. It was a year that Rumanaj Ali was reserve and Arnett Perlane won, but Jamil showed well. He was always a very elegant horse and kind of quiet. He minded his own business. Had a nice personality, but seemed to be comfortable with us. And his daughters, in particular, he was probably overall a better female sire than he was a male, although he had several nice sons.
Yes.
Especially Nile Pasha was exceptional.
Yeah.
But his daughters, he had several two wonderful bay daughters out of the Samantha line, and one beautiful gray filly we lost. Oh dear, it's always the good ones. But he was a very influential in a section of our program, particularly with the Samantha line. And with the Frida line, the Mayor J.K.B. Masuda that we leased from Gene Kaiser was the Frida family, the old Marbach Malika family, and he did extremely well with that. So his daughters became very influential in our program.
Yeah. And he did also for Imperial also, I remember one, what's her name, I forgot.
He did have
Mist.
No, that was a Sudan daughter. He did have a daughter. There was something that went to Imperial by Jamil. I'm trying to remember, and it was of a Nile family.
Either Miss or maybe Misty.
Misty,
which is the son of something like that.
They bred one of their mares to him. That's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
We bred one mare. They had a nice bay, also very big eyes. I forgot.
Yeah, he
the
was
name.
pretty dominant on the eyes. Not as long a neck as I would have expected.
Yes.
But they were well shaped. One other wonderful thing Jamil did was very straight legs, front legs. You know, the tends in some of the Egyptian horses to be offset and offset knees. Jamil was straight as an arrow, and he produced, his foals were straight. As I remember, that was another thing. I think, as I recall, El Eldin was very clean in the, straight legs. So that was something that's one of the traits, I think, in Egyptian horses that pops out that we'd like to clean up more frequently.
Yeah. Then Halim Shah came back.
Halim Shah came back. He did a miraculous job in Europe. I can't remember how many gold licensed stallions he had. Set a record, I believe.
Yes.
But he was probably, without a doubt, the most dominant breeding stallion we ever bred, and probably, I don't know of any straight Egyptian horse that's been as dominant as he has over the years that I've been breeding these horses.
Yes.
Because he was like a cookie cutter. I mean, no matter whatever he bred to, the Halim Shah came through.
Yeah.
Constantly, time after time after time. And he truly revolutionized the Egyptian horse, especially in Europe. And then, of course, in the Middle East later on, after we used him for several years after he came back, and he produced good sons and good daughters for us. He was such a correct, beautifully balanced horse, very elegant. Looked like a porcelain statue almost. And I'm really so greatly reminded of him through this young stallion, Marwan al-Kuwait, which is a reverse breeding of his.
Yes.
Very, very, very similar.
To Halim Shah.
To Halim Shah.
Yes. Well, Al-Kut was a little bit also similar to Halim Shah.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
I mean, he reminded me a great deal of Halim Shah.
Yes.
Very much so. But as he got older, I think this Marwan almost even more so. So I'm so glad to see that type is carrying on.
Yes.
And Marwan seems to be doing a good job. And he's, as I say, he's
very
very
well.
similar in type, very elegant, very refined, fine bones, fine head, fine everywhere.
Yes. He is doing very well here. I think so. After also Halim Shah, then again you brought in Prince Fah. What made you do that? I mean, after you